Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your DevOps SRE DevSecOps coach. So there are many methods to set up a clusters, but the one which I'm doing it that will be faster for you and saving lots of time. The ultimate game is to learn after setting up the cluster how to create all the resources. So let me create two machines of 1 to 20x. I mind it. Uh, You must note it down. 20x I'm using it. So for the demo also, for lab also, you must use 20x because as I said, there's many ways to set up a cluster, different environment, different version of operating system. So I need two machines, one for master, one for worker. So first I'll set up a master and then set up a worker. So let me set it up here, Kubernetes, and then I'm going for 1 to the version 20 because the script which I'm going to use it which will be for 20 and 8 GB RAM I'm going for it. Why? It's just to save your time, performance and all, it will give you better. 4 GB is also I think you can try for it. Okay, so now I'm going to create a new ticket for it, Kubernetes, and create a new key pair, and here existing group I'll select the default group, mind it, default group which have everything open. It's not a good practice, but I just want you to learn Kubernetes rather than complexity around it. 40 GB of RAM, I'm going for giving it, and I need two machines, so here two machines. Launch. So here, this is the master, this is the worker. Now here I'm going to use my code, so Kubernetes cluster. So I'm looking for which one will help me to set up. So this one I'm using. So this URL I'll share with you also. And this is the code, entire code, which you can use it. So let me first get the IP address. So here I'll make it this one master, one machine, and another machine. So I'll make it worker. Done. So this is the master. Here you have IP address for this. And this is the worker. This is the IP address for it. Okay, so now I'm going to logging into one machine. So exit 30 and here key I'm having and key I downloaded, right? What I name it, I forgot that, Kubernetes or something like that, right? So where downloaded key was into download directory kubernetes.pm. Okay, so this is the pm file I downloaded, so I have to convert into the ppk. So for tgen I'm using convert into the pm to pp. So import key here to say private key and kubernetes ppk file. Done. So now I can use with putty and open up, accept. Let me improve the view. Here username is Ubuntu and done. Now this is the become a root. Now what to do? So here I am going to clone this repository. Okay, so Here it is. Now in this repository all the scripts are there. So inside this directory there will be a script. So this is the latest. Done. Now here, mind it, this script will set up two things. Okay, are you able to see my screen, right? All of you?
Yes, Rajesh.
So this will set up the script, that repository I'll share with you. You can use it. So this command will set up two things. This script will set up a master and workstation. Let me create one image quickly so to understand. So this is the workstation. This is your laptop. Here kubectl should be there, and this is your cluster. One is master server, and this is the worker. Okay, so this is the master, this is the workstation, and this is the worker. Now this is you. So this guy, you will use this machines to talk to this machine, and this machine will deploy in the parallelly different machines. So now what I'm doing, this server, workstation server, I'm setting up in this only. So this machine will be master plus workstation, and one machines I'm having from workstation, a worker. Did you understand the concept? All of you? Hello? Hello? So yeah, so I'm giving the permission and then running the script. This script will install your 1.23 version of Kubernetes for good to go in one go. So now you want to understand the step-by-step process for installing. So if you are preparing for certifications and all, so what you can do, this script you can read line by line. It's a shell script, and you'll understand the logic for installation process. So just wait for 2 to 3 minutes. It should set. 8 GB RAM is good. You get a very good speed actually. Anyways, we deployments we are not doing heavy, so that is more than sufficient. Okay, so guys, I would suggest you to look at this information very carefully. This one, okay, this one. Okay, so this basically is a command to set up workstation. This is way to install your networking add-ons, and this is a mere magical command to add more worker in the master. So this command I will run it. Anyways, at the end of it also this way I got it. So command to add a worker node. So this you get it here. Okay. So here this is the command you will run in the worker node, and this token will be valid only for 48 hours, I guess, or 24 hours. You can generate a more token also being admin. So guys, I have set up the workstation and master completed. You want to check this out? So remember that in this utility, what you will run kubectl, correct now? So let me run the kubectl. My bad. These are the commands you have to learn actually. I'll teach you. Now here some of the commands you want to know. Get nodes. How many nodes you have? So right now only one mode, ready, control plane master, version of Kubernetes. So many other commands are there which you can see that here. API information you want, so clustered info if you do here kubectl clustered info. So this is your API server running in the same machine, and this is the discovery services core DNS and all. So guys, this is your Kubernetes cluster master node and workstation is set up. Are you understanding, all of you? All of you?
Yes.
Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Hello? Any questions so far?
Rajesh, so far so good.
Okay, so now what to do? So guys, I am going to set up a workstation. So let me log into my machine, second one. So hmm, so where is the notes actually? I just now created notes. Uh, huh. So this is the work need to work run in the worker. So now I'm going to set up a workstation. So mind it, what I am doing, the workstation node will be white background. Worker node, I'll make it black background. So that way you understand where I'm running the commands. So here I'm logging to the worker node and Kubernetes ppk accept. Now here change color or change color. I'll not do that. I'll just change the font style and all. So worker node is in black, remember, Ubuntu. And now sudo -s. So in the worker node also you have to run this command. So let me clone it, and here this one cd cluster setup latest, and now this is the for worker, install worker. So I'm giving the permissions, and after this I'm running the command. So this script will set up your worker. That means all the component. Remember, for master you required minimum 4 software, and for worker you required 3 software minimum. So all this setup will be done by this script only. You don't have to do line by line and all. It will save time. And now one more thing, it's in cloud, so it is happening faster. But if it is in your local machine, it might take 10 minutes or 15 minutes or so on, depends on your network bandwidth. Almost done. Okay, so installation is done. Now what you need to do, you need to run these commands in the worker. So each worker, after that installation, you have to run this command. Now the only one thing, this is will expire in 24 hours. So using kubeadm command, you can create a new ticket, new token also. So that is a thing. So black screen is will be worker. I'm running this one. Done. So here you see, now you can run the get nodes on the control plane, which is here, and then setup is done. Now it's not ready, just wait for a few seconds. Networking will be installed, and now it's ready. So now you see that, guys, I set up the one master and one worker, the version number this one, and this is how I set it up. Now you want to know all the component of it. So let me show you all the components. So here you see, this is the all this component which I discussed in the previous discussion during the architecture is running in form of pod. So when I say pod, then you see that this is the API server application. This is a etcd. This is the scheduler. This is the controller. Each worker, each machine will have one proxy. So two proxy we have because two nodes are there. And these are the networking related pods and discovery related pod. Got it, all of you? All of you? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, so these are the commands I run. You should not forget it. So for that, I use this one in this. Now, next thing is how workstation, okay, station connect to API server. That is an important thing. How? So workstation, we have a kubectl, and this uh, read a file which is called, there's a home directory and .q folder, and there's one config file. Okay, so in this directory there is one file which it reads, and this is the directory. You have a clustered information, user information, and context also, which is combine of user and cluster. This file, let me show you this file. So workstation is set here only for me. So look at this, this is the file. So this is a pretty huge file. This is the API server. This is the clustered information, somewhere users, and this is the context. So this file only is required for kubectl to connect to the API server. Now you can see all this thing in simple way. View, config view, okay, config view. See here, in short, you can see that this is the stuff. Now, next thing is what to do in cluster. So first thing, you need to ask what are the resources available in the cluster. Okay, that is the first thing you should ask. How do you ask? So this command will tell you all the commands which you need to learn. So one by one we'll cover these commands, and then here you have all the functionality whatever you have in Kubernetes. You can check it out like this. So here you see these are the functionality you have it. So here these are the functionality: name, short name, API version of it. Some resources are true in terms of namespace. Some resources are false in terms of namespace and kind. So what is the namespace? I'll discuss in some time. So these are the resources. These are the features you have in Kubernetes. One of the features which I discuss about, if you remember, pod. Okay. And one of the other feature which we configure, it's a node. So somewhere node, it should be here. Here it is. Okay, like that, slowly you have to run each feature, you have to learn each feature and then understand this. So now the question is what to do. What to do? So here first thing you have to know all the resources, all the API resources. Okay. After that, learn why, what is the use of that resources, what is the use of each resources. Okay. And third thing, how to deploy. Okay, how to deploy. So you have to learn this one. So now the third question which I'll teach you magically. So any resources which you have, which you see here, how to deploy. So we typically use the function called CRUD, CRUD. C for create, R for read, update, delete. So this is how you deploy the resources. Create means you can do through some command line, you can do through YAML file also. Same thing you can do, read also you can do through command line, and you can do it through YAML file also. Update also you can do, and delete also you can do. So these all things you can do, all the resources which you see here, you can create, read, update and delete. So now how do we do through command line? So let's learn from the command itself. So see here, create command, read command, update command, delete command. So four commands you have it. So here create, get, and one more command describe, update command you have edit, and delete command you have delete. Every resources you can create, get, edit and delete using command line. You can do through YAML file also. So create -f and YAML file you have to use it. I'll teach you. And then you have to also get -f and describe -f YAML file. You can do that. Okay, this is a pattern which I'm teaching you for everything. And edit, you have to do apply -f YAML file, and delete, for that delete and -f YAML file. Okay, so that means using this pattern, if you apply all the resources which I have here, you can do that stuff. Are you understanding the pattern, all of you? All of you? Hello? Hello? I'm audible?
Oh yes, 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 yes.
So now, after understanding all this fundamental, the main point is what are the resources, how to do the CRUD. So first I'll teach you what is a namespace, then I'll teach you what is a pod, then I'll teach you what is a replication controller, and then I'll teach you deployment, and then I'll teach you services. So these are the resources I'll teach you. So let's start with a namespace. How to do namespace, how to CRUD namespace, you know, how to CRUD pod also, how to do the replication controller also, and deployment and services commands you know by now. Let's do this namespace. What is a namespace? So I'll put it in a very simple way. Let's understand that what is a namespace. So here there is one worker, there is another worker. Now this will become one cluster. Okay. Okay. So here this is a whole is one cluster powered by one worker. Okay. So here I'll put it in this way. So this is the cluster powered by two worker. That way it will be good. One worker, two worker. It can be 100 worker also. Okay. So this is the cluster capacity. So here you have a 5 GB RAM, 5 GB RAM. Or let's say make it 10 GB for broader and 10 GB here. Okay. So what is the cluster size? 20 GB. Now it can be in real time hundreds of machines it can attach to the cluster. So now next thing is, there is a one team which is called red team. Okay, and there is one team which is called blue team. This is the two different project, two different team. So now red team will deploy their pods, so one pod, two pod. Blue team, green team also deploy their pod, one pod, two pod. Now theoretically, technically, this pod will run in this worker, this pod will run in this worker, this pod will run in this worker, this pod will run in this worker. That means they are consuming the resources of this node. Now what has happened, red team has some bugs in the pod which has a container comes from image is Docker image, the one which you write it has applications. So it has some bugs. What is the bugs? Because of some issues, they're consuming lots of CPU, lots of RAM. Okay. So now green team is very angry on the red team, saying that, hey, you know, this is having bug, so they are consuming all the resources. Here, this is having bug, this is coming all the resources. Now green team is very angry because they have used all the resources, and now green is having impact because of red bugs. Now that is a one incident. That means if you have one cluster powered by multiple node, then how do we share the resources effectively so it should not impact each other? That's a problem. Now green team, what has happened, there is one engineer, one day what they did, because they were working on the same cluster, they modify the pods configuration for the red. Now red is very furious, how dare you touch my pod. So what I'm trying to say here is, when you have one cluster powered by multiple node, all the projects are using it, so they will fight for resources and problems, access, this, that, and all. So what is the solution for it? That is where Kubernetes proposed one solution, and that said, hey, listen, do one thing, don't fight. There is one cluster, but this cluster you can divide into, why this? So you can divide into two different virtual cluster. Virtual cluster, this is called namespace. This is the namespace one, this is the namespace one. So now what you can do, namespace, you can set the restriction. That means no matter what, you can use only 4 GB from this pod and this pod maximum. Here also you set the restriction 3 GB. That means you cannot consume, though be you are running in this machine only, you are running in this machine only, but virtually you cannot ask for more than 4 GB. So that way you are not impacting other applications. Now in the no namespace level, you can set access also. So project one, you assign this namespace access, and project B, you can assign this namespace access. They will not have access to this namespace, they will not have access to this namespace. That means in a one cluster only, you are creating virtual isolation for dividing the resources and access. And that concept in Kubernetes, we call it namespace. Are you understanding, all of you? Are you are you understanding, all of you? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, so now what has happened? Kubernetes also has created few additional namespace. One is system namespace, one is public namespace, default namespace, one is public namespace, and one is node namespace. So system namespace, Kubernetes is running their own pod. Default namespace, those who's not having dedicated namespace will be a part of the default, and public, anyone can use it. Node, only admin can use it. So how do you see that in those namespace? Let me show you. So kubectl get ns. Remember, get means reading. I'm following this pattern, so always recall this get. Okay, CRUD. So here you see that here this is the system namespace. This is the namespace. You have all the system pod which I showed you just now. So here, see that these are the system pod. Uh, now, now if you are belong to no namespace, you will be a part of the default namespace. So how do you create a namespace? Basically, how do you create the namespace? So first I'll show you through command line. So let me do that. So kubectl create ns dev team, ns qa team. So here you see I created two namespace, and get namespace. Here you have a dev qa. Now I will get it, which I did it, and I can describe also. So what to do? Describe ns and then dev. Here you see described. Right now there's no restriction applied, no resource quota and access. No. Now what to do? You want to edit. How do you edit? Let me do that. Here this is the way you can edit. Now typically right now you're just starting it, so just restrict yourself to the label YAML file. So team DevOps school. Okay, done. Save it. And now you see describe. See that here you added. Now finally you will do the delete. So here delete. First you get how many you have it. So I have a 2. I am deleting one of the namespace. Delete ns qa. Done. Now this is how you do the CRUD. So namespace is a way to logically divide the cluster for resources and access. You can have multiple namespaces, and pod is being created inside a namespace. Remember that. And I did the CRUD, and these are the commands I run in order to show you the capability. Any questions so far, all of you? Any questions so far? Hello? 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 Purnima, Dinesh, Arun, Amir.
I'm good.
No questions for my.
Okay, so now next one which I'm going to teach you, pod creation, how to CRUD prod. So let me tell you, last time I created a namespace using command line. So this time I'll create using YAML file. So let me create a pod now. I need a YAML content. So here you just write pod example, enter, and here you get multiple examples here. So one of the examples which is I'm using. So here this is the YAML file. Look at this here. What you want? Kind pod. What is the API version of it? V1. What is the name of the pod? I'll keep it Rajesh, labeled with hello world. Pod will have containers, multiple containers, one container right now. This image I developed and pushed to the hub.docker.com. Okay, and running on 80 port. So this is the pod specifications. Inside that you'll have a nginx. This image basically, which is nothing but an extension of nginx. So let me create this pod using YAML. So here what I'll do, vi pod.yaml, file name can be anything, and done. Now what I will do, kubectl create -f YAML file pod.yaml. See, I created. Now after that, get, this time get pods. Here one pod is running. You can also run wide IP. Wide means IP address of the pod is this one. Okay, now you can also see the labels also. Multiple options are there. You can learn one by one. Okay, so this is the CRUD. I can describe the pod also. So how to describe the pod? So describe and pod name. Mind it, this pod I created in the default namespace. So see here, complete details about the pod, you have it. Okay, so now Rajesh pod, if you want to create in the same namespace one more time, it will not create. What to do? So I'm going to create this pod in the different namespace. Right now it's in default namespace. So dev namespace, I'm going to create it. -n is equal to dev. See here, kubectl get pods -n is equal to dev. So this is, earlier I was showing you the default, now I am showing you the dev. So whenever you use the different namespace, you can specify -n all the time. If you don't specify, it will read the default. Okay, so that is how we work with the pod. So what I did created a pod. I did read the pod. I'm going to update the pod. How? So let me do that. So I'm going to work with the default. So edit pod Rajesh, enter. What you want to do until you learn all the fields, slowly you will get experience with it. Modify labels, team, DevOps, pool, and then save it. Okay, and then describe this pod, and you see here labels somewhere here. So I did the update also, and finally I will delete the pod using YAML file. So here kubectl delete or delete -f pod.yaml. You see I deleted the pod. You want to delete the pod from the dev namespace, this one also. Okay, so guys, this is the way you can do CRUD of the pod. Are you understanding, all of you? Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Hello? Hello? Okay. So now the question is, okay, we created a pod. How do we consume the pod? So guys, for this you have a few commands I wanted to show you, and these are the commands which you have here. Okay, so these commands you can call it a troubleshooting commands which you can use it. So describe I have already used, and proxy is not needed. Auth and debug is not needed, and so now what is the logs? So let me create a pod first and then I'll talk about it. So I'm creating a pod, kubectl create -f and -f what pod.yaml. Done. I created a pod. So kubectl get pods, you have it. So now logs will do what? So logs will print the container logs of that particular pod. How do you do that? So kubectl logs Rajesh. So nothing is there. Why? Because I have never consumed the pod. So now can I see the IP address? Look at this. Here from the other machines, I'll do the curl request. Curl http dot enter. And now I'll run this command in the loop. Watch. Oh, watch, spelling mistake. And now you see the logs. Now you see that logs here. Now if you want to do continuous logs, logs -f enter. See continuous log, you can see that. So logs command will, you can see that the logs of container. Okay. Now you want to attach to the PID one and then see the logs. So let me show you. So you can attach to this using this command, attach, enter. See here, you are live streaming the PID one of the container of that particular pod. Do you want to run any executable inside a container? So this is how you do that. So kubectl exec Rajesh ls tmp. You are running inside a container of that particular Rajesh pod. Now if you want to go inside that, so you can interact. So exec -it and bin bash, enter. So where are you right now? So you are inside a container of that particular pod. Come out of it, exec. Now do you want to copy port forwarding this pod at the host machine? So I don't remember the full commands, but I can use the help one. So kubectl uh, port forwarding -h. So any command if you don't remember, just keep putting the -h. It'll give you some examples. So see, so many examples has come. So one of the examples which I'm going to use it here. So here port forwarding from all the address, which pod? Rajesh pod. On which port you want to be accessing this one? So this one, host port number, and this is the container port, which is 80. So this I'll let it be anything, I don't care. Now this is a default. So let me run this command and enter. So now port forwarding is happening. So that means if you want to access this container pod at the host IP address, so let me go to this IP address and port number 8888. See here, this is the one. You are able to access the IP address at IP address and port number. So that is called port forwarding. Let me stop it. Control C. It will be off now. So this is the way you can also do the port forwarding. Now one more command we have is CP. So CP means if you want to copy certain files in the container of that particular pod, you can use CP. So there is a one pod, Rajesh, what file you want to copy? So let me copy this file. So kubectl CP, this one, and which pod you want to copy, Rajesh, and where exactly you want to copy, /tmp, enter. Now kubectl exec Rajesh and ls tmp, the pod.yaml. And last command which you have in this category is auth. So auth command will check what kind of access you have. Right now I'm the root, so I have all the access. So let me check this. kubectl auth, enter. There is a two command. Can I reconcile? Reconcile for the RBAC, that is out of scope right now. Can I means if you can create pod, yes. You can create service, yes. Basically every time you will get a yes because I have all the access. So guys, these are the commands which you can use to interact with the containers of that particular pod and troubleshoot and debug. Are you understanding, all of you?
Have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video.
Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest.
Thanks for watching.